Welcome to the Daily Forex Market Analysis, and this is for trading on October the 17th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, so as usual, we'll get started with our calendar here. So in terms of the data coming up today, we have retail sales numbers for UK here. We also have EU Economic Summit. So any of the comments coming out of the Economic Summit can have an impact on the markets here. So we were, also we have been waiting on Brexit results. The Brexit negotiations have been going on, and we've been hearing comments about how close EU and UK are to coming to an agreement. And yet we haven't actually seen an agreement yet. And just a few minutes ago here, we also we got some comments saying that they weren't able to agree on a few things. So as a result of that, we have seen British pound drop here. So keep an eye on the Brexit developments, because those will have an impact on the market. And also when we have an economic summit or anything like that, because there will be officials there, usually we have journalists there as well, and any comments can have an impact on the market. So keep an eye on any of the comments coming out of that, as well as Brexit here. And then in the New York session, we have ADP non-farm payroll numbers for Canada, as well as Philly Fed manufacturing index here for the US. So any drop here, or if the numbers come in below expectations, we're likely to see a negative impact on the US dollar here for Philly Fed manufacturing index, as well as the housing numbers here. So ton of data out of the US here tomorrow. Excuse me. So the US dollar can be volatile. Keep an eye on it. We also have more FOMC members speaking. Again, we'll have to just keep an eye on the comments there. We have RBA Governor Lau speaking. The RBA statement, the monetary policy statement that came out a few days ago, didn't really do much, so I'm not expecting a big move out of this one here. And then we have Chinese GDP numbers coming out here. Chinese GDP numbers, or Chinese numbers data, tends to have an impact on New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar. So keep an eye on those two pairs. So let's move on to our charts here. As usual, we'll start off with our euro dollar. For the euro here, yesterday we were looking for a move higher. Now we got that move. Now price is into the resistance here at 1.1080. And if price stays below this number, I will look for price to drop further. So bias here is to the downside for, actually no, bias is neutral here, but because it's into resistance here, this one could drop. So we do have a bullish candle close here, but if price does not hold above 1.1080, I will look for it to drop. Now, if it does break above, because it's at such an important level, let's say tomorrow we hear comments that EU and UK have reached an agreement, we're likely to see this one go up. But for now, because we're into resistance, we can get the move to the downside. So for now, looking for this one to come back down and towards 1.10. Pound here, this is the move that we just talked about here. Because they could not reach an agreement, the negative news has now created a down move here. So I will look for actually price to drop further towards 1.2720. And then if we still don't see any kind of an agreement, or them getting close to an agreement, then this one could drop further. But if we start to see or hear positive comments in terms of reaching an agreement, this one could go back up still. So Brexit, or because of Brexit, British pound has been very, very volatile, as we have seen this big move to the upside. So keep an eye on it. There's still room for volatility. with British pound. So for now, I'm looking for a drop towards 1.2720, then 1.2600. So bias is to the downside for pound dollar. Aussie dollar here, this one has already moved up. We had a bullish pin bar here. So now price has moved up. It is into resistance now at 0.6790. So if price does not go through this level, this one could turn. So if it holds below 0.6790, this one could turn. So I'm a little behind with analysis. So normally I would have said a bullish move is what I'm looking for, but that bullish move has already happened partially, and now we are into resistance. If it doesn't go through, I will look for price to come back down, but there is room for it to go higher towards 0.6810. So I'm going to say bullish bias here for Aussie dollar, but watch out for the reversal because we are almost at that point where price can turn. New Zealand dollar, this one looks, this one is neutral. We have pins on both sides, small candle body. So back to back twice, we've had neutral candle close. But one thing to keep in mind would be if price stays below 0.6320, which is the high of the day, then I'm looking for it to drop towards 0.6220 and then 0.6200. So as long as it stays below 0.6320, I'm looking for a drop for New Zealand dollar, but the bias is neutral here. Dollar CAD here, we have a bearish pin bar here. And with this, we can see that price has been trading in a range for the last few days here. So in this case, we have this a couple of different levels to watch here. 1.3180. So if price stays above this, this one can go back towards the little or the high of the range this has been trading in towards 1.3240. But if it breaks the low, today's low, then I would look for a further move to the downside. So right now we do have a bearish pin bar for dollar CAD, but because it's into our support level, I would be cautious with this one, but bias is to the downside. 1.3170 is the first target. 1.3120 is the second target. But again, with caution, because if it doesn't drop through 1.3180, this one could go back up towards the high of the range. Let's take a look at the commodities here. We're looking at silver. Silver price went into the support, tried to go below it, but it's holding above the support level here. So we are still trading in this range. I will look for price to go higher here. First target would be 1780 and then 18. So bullish bias here for silver. Gold here, gold as well went into the support level, couldn't break it. This is the third time it hasn't been able to break it. So I will look for price to move higher. 1498 is the first target, or let's say 15. 1500 is the first target. 1520 is the second target for gold. Oil still looking weak here. We could see a further drop here, and target would be 51.80. So bias is bearish for oil. Copper is also looking bearish here. We have a nice bearish candle close. And next target is 2.50. We are into support, so just be mindful of that, but looking for it to drop further towards 2.50. Bitcoin slowly making its way down, still looking bearish here. First target is 7740 level here, which is the bottom of the this range that it's been trading in. If it breaks through this level, then we are looking at 7400. But it is in a range, so keep an eye on it. For now, bias is bearish for Bitcoin. S&P 500 here, this one is interesting. The equity markets have been bullish because of the optimism in regards to the Brexit deal. And now, if we do not get a Brexit deal, we could see equity markets drop, which means yen crosses are likely to drop, and all safe haven assets are likely to go up, including silver and gold. So we will have to keep an eye on this because this is just at the beginning there, And it's at a critical level where it could turn around and continue, but it could also start the drop process. It will have to see how the day progresses in order to really find out where this wants to go. And a lot of it will be dependent on the Brexit comments. So at this point, as long as it stays below 3,000, I'm looking for it to drop towards 29.65, which is the base of this candle here. So bias is to the downside here for S&P 500. NASDAQ here, same thing. We have a hanging man here, so looking for price to drop. 78.50 is the target for NASDAQ as well. DAX here, DAX is into resistance, so we have to be careful. If price stays below 12,650, we're likely to see a drop, but we do have a bullish candle close here. So if price goes through the high, then it can continue further. But if the other indices start to drop, this is likely to drop here as well. The critical point will be 12,650. If it stays below, I will look for a drop towards 12,500. Last one, or second last one here, FTSE. FTSE is trying to make its way up here. We do have a bearish candle close, but price it is into support. So we may not actually, so we may not see a break here, but keep an eye on it. I would look for price to come back towards 71.40. And if it holds above, then be range bound. So right now, this one has been range bound for several days here. It's just been trading in this range between 72.50 and 71.40 or even 7100. So at this point, we could see a drop into 71.40 or even into 7100 and then a move higher. So bias here for FTSE is bearish. And we are into Nikkei. Nikkei is into resistance. We have a large pin on the top side. So this one could drop here as well. In terms of target, 22,250 will be the target for Nikkei here. So bias is to the downside for Nikkei. However, I would say expect volatility with pretty much everything in the market at this point, because the markets are waiting on the Brexit negotiations. So once we have a firm answer from there, we are likely to see things change. For now, though, it's a wait and see mode, and we're likely to see markets going sideways for now and increased volatility in the markets as well. All right, so that's it for me. You guys have a great trading day, and I'll be back again with tomorrow's forecast. Bye for now.